hoops and the new school bonds. Pull up a chair, we'll expand your minds. It's the Knights Table, let's ride the wave. Where hip-hop's history is deeply engraved. From the old to the new, watch the torch flame. This is where the culture earns its name.
Welcome back to the Knights Table, episode 2. Episode 1, we went through relationships and we took y'all to the Indy 500.
We also checked in with Yeshua Downey about felony disenfranchisement and got one of Danger's new songs, Problematic. For this episode, we're thinking about something a little different. What were you thinking, Devon?
I was thinking about getting rich, something like quick hit, lottery ticket, quick score, but we all know that's not sustainable, right?
Yeah, getting rich is nice, but growing wealth is really where it's at. Building a foundation, being consistent. This allows us to gain assets and have financial security. So for this episode, what do you think about let's grow wealth?
Makes sense, but does it make dollars like this? Makes me happy, makes me feel rich. I got jewels, I got watches, but can I really do anything with that? Unless I find the right buyer, and that'll take a long time.
I get what you're saying. I mean, feeling rich is nice. It gets us through the day, but is it sustainable? Recently, I was in Dubai and we flew first class and we stayed in the financial district and it was really nice, but nothing sustainable. But something I saw while I was out there really resonated. The Sheikh of Dubai, who was in charge of transitioning after Japan started producing pearls, decided that it was time for Dubai to become a port. So unlike all the other Emirates who were oil rich, Dubai had to really be on their toes and be able to transition from one natural resource that was depletable to this new way of thinking and really being able to sustain their economy.
Like a true G, you got to evolve with the times, right? He's providing a service that everyone needs. In this episode, we're going to KeKe Smith and we're going to let her tell you where she's been.
From there, we're going to talk to another Harris-Mayo, this time Anjelika. She's going to talk to us about growing wealth from a youth perspective and how the next generation thinks about these types of things.
We also have Jen. She owns Pole to Pole Fitness. We're going to dig into her mind and see how she got started.
Last but not least, I got a surprise for you. It's music for Beyond the Bars, but this time it's something cutting edge, something really amazing. Can't wait to share that with you and go from there.
That works. Can't wait to hear it. Can't wait to see it. Let's go.
The Isthmus of Panama contains a blend of beaches, rainforests, and mountains that connect Central America to South America. Because of its serpentine shape, it is the only place on Earth where you can see the sun rise over the Pacific and set over the Atlantic. Panama serves as a transit revenue hotspot because of that connection between the two oceans. Our guest today, KeKe Smith, is here to share her experience with the melting pot known as Panama. Welcome to What in the World, KeKe.
Hey, it's been a while. How you guys doing?
Doing good. Great to have you back. I know you've been a lot of different places. Today we'll be discussing Panama. Specifically, why did you choose to travel to Panama?
For a number of reasons. For one, I like to travel, so I'll go anywhere I have not been. Let's start off there. So because I have not been there, but also because it is a bridge between Mexico and South America, and just the history behind what's in Panama. Their Afro-Latino culture, the Panama Canal, their rainforest.
What was it about the Afro-Latino culture that drew you there?
It comes back to its history, how the slaves were brought there for a number of reasons. The ships were brought through there. So from that, they have that huge Afro-Latino culture there. Kind of wanted to see that because in school, you learn about Panama as only this Spanish country. You don't learn about the influences of the African slaves that were brought there and how there is a connection of Africans and the Hispanic culture. I wanted to see that for myself, to see exactly what is there and what it looks like, because I went to school with friends who look like me, my complexion, same hair texture, and they're Panamanian, and I'm looking like, wait, but Panama's a Spanish country, so how do you look like me? Maybe to see that and know more about the culture. I wanted to see that.
Well, culture is one of my favorite things, and we touched on it being a melting pot a little bit earlier. What were some of your favorite local dishes? Because that's really how I get to know a culture.
It was your typical Spanish dishes, Latinos, your plantains, rice, beans. But when we did travel to one of the indigenous islands, their food there is literally fresh food. Whatever fish they caught that morning is what we ate, and it was just seasoned with salt. And it was the best fish I ever had. that stays in my mind because when I asked them later on what kind of fish I ate, it was tilapia. And I don't know about for you, but for me in the States, I will never ever eat tilapia. I don't buy it, I don't eat it.
The fact that you get to see them catch the fish and just season minimally to make it delicious is awesome. You mentioned the fish. What was the other wildlife like?
We went to the rainforest, which I absolutely love. The thing is, their rainforest, they do not allow people to step on the land. So we had to go by boat. We were able to see monkeys, so many different kinds of monkeys. We saw bats, mostly monkeys. I think we saw 3 different types of monkeys.
That sounds like a lot of fun. What advice would you give to others traveling to Panama?
It's a great place for Americans because a lot of the Panamanians speak English. We get a little nervous about language barriers. They understand, easy to communicate, very easy to get around. Uber's big. When you do travel there, go outside the city. See the countryside, Panamanian life outside of Panama City. That we can get a little mixture of both worlds in a sense, their city life and their country life.
Was there any specific experiences on the islands that you got to visit that you'd like to share with us?
Yes. So one fun fact is Panama has a bunch of little islands. It's a crazy amount. They call them sandblast islands, but they only allow a small chunk of them to be lived on. You were able to see the lifestyle of these Panamanians on this island. Mind you, you can literally see the other end of the island just by looking across. It just makes you think like, how do you guys just live here like this 24/7? When it's dark outside, when it's hurricane season, it makes you think people live on these islands and they're living good, they're happy. We went to 4 different islands and they're pretty close by. They were a 20-minute boat ride. Their bathrooms, not the cleanest, but it's just crazy to see how they live. We had met a couple that was staying on one of the islands overnight. That's one of a lifetime experience. You say you stayed on one of those islands overnight to see exactly what it's like. Put that out too.
The simple life of just fishing and living on the island, living off of nature. They're so happy because they live in this simplicity. Going from simple to complicated. Panama is known for the Panama Canal. What was it like seeing the Panama Canal in action?
Okay, so let's talk about it because I could talk about it forever. We were able to go on the river that connects to the Panama Canal early in the morning before the ships are even allowed to go through. It was scary. For one, in this small boat, I was able to see it in action. It took a while for an actual ship to go through 3 different levees. The first one is the lowest point. It fills up with water, and then the gates open once it reaches a certain level. Then the ship gets pulled through. The engines are off. It's being pulled by this little tugboat. Once they reach the 3rd one, they're good to go. They're through the canal. They can continue on with their journey. But to see all this in action was so amazing because this huge ship, it's going to be pushed up by just water.
It's amazing how powerful water is and how integral to our economy waterways are. How would you say that the Panama Canal affects the world economy?
If we go back to the reason it was created, whatever it was transporting, they had to go all the way around South America. With the Panama Canal, you have to reserve your spot. Each ship has a window, and you have to meet that window in order to go through the canal. So you have all of these ships that are sitting waiting for their time to go through. How much money is flowing through this 3-door canal is crazy.
I mean, how they were able to connect 2 of the biggest oceans in the world and change the lives of so many different people and industries.
Fun fact, I forgot to say, because this is a chance to shine a light on Americans, because America was the one that was able to figure out how to get the canal built. So kudos to us. Shout out to the USA.
There's nothing better than to be able to really impact the world the way that the US did with building the canal. Anything else that you'd like to share before you go?
Visit Panama. You guys see Panama City. They love Americans. It's a great time there. And then, stay tuned for where I'm at next.
Our guest today is Anjelika Harris-Mayo. Welcome to Table Talk, Anjelika.
Hi.
We're going to get to know a little about you, what you think about business and investing, and what makes you tick. To start us off, how would you describe yourself?
A very talkative person, but a little bit quiet. If I don't have anything to say or want to be in my own little space bubble, and I just read books. So yeah, I'm a bookworm.
So that's one of the things you like to do. You said you're a bookworm. What else do you like to do for fun?
I have this one book I'm trying to write. It's called The Last Breath. It's kind of like a horror book, but also it's realistic. It's nonfiction. It's basically about school shootings. About one school shooting I heard about. It was a really sad one because a girl had to use her friend's blood and play dead.
Okay, so that's something that seems like it kind of could be weighing on you. Is there anything else? What else about school weighs on you and makes you think about it when you're not in school?
Projects. When there's a project that we had to do in like less than a week and we had to figure out something to do. For this project, we had to build a house from the different tribes, and I'm nervous to do it because I'm scared about getting a bad grade.
Well, that's something that you think about, and I can understand how that making sure you get those straight A's is important to you. Something a little bit more fun to think about. What is your dream vacation destination?
Me and my friend want to go to Europe and Russia. Those are the two places I really want to go to.
Another question I have for you, what does the word wealthy mean to you?
Basically, wealthy means you're healthy, you're good, and it also means rich because like some people are very wealthy. You can also be healthy and you don't have to buy rich things just because you're wealthy.
That's cool that you think that wealth is not just a monetary thing, it's also your physical health. That's really important that you think that way. What are some of the things that you would save your money for if you were rich?
I would travel around the world because my cousin travels around the world with her husband and goes places, and I want to go places too because the only places I've stayed in is in New Jersey. My plan is when I'm older is to explore the whole world.
That's awesome that you want to explore the world like that. What do you see yourself doing in the future to be able to explore the world?
Be a teacher maybe, or a hairdresser because I love to do hair and I love to style my mom's hair all the time. And with my friend, we're starting a bracelet company. It's called Bubblegum and Bracelet. We're trying to sell clothes, sell bracelets. We're also thinking in the future, my friend wants to be a nail tech and I want to be a hairdresser. So we're thinking of starting a business when we're older. She has half of the studio and I have half of the studio.
That's cool that you have plans to start a business together and help people. What is something or some advice that you would give to your younger self?
Stay positive and be happy, although I know you miss people that are gone and you want to see them again. They're always up there and still in your heart and they are watching you. It's like your own audience, but they get the front row seats. Like, have a smile on your face, because smiling makes like your day.
That's some good advice, to stay smiling, and even when times are tough, that the people that we may have lost along the way are always there with us to help us out through those times. Two people that are always helping you out, I'm sure, are your parents. Since this is about wealth, and we know you're going to be wealthy one of these days, how do you plan to pay your parents back for all that they've done for you?
Because of all the times that they've spent their money on me, and I've seen them work extremely hard just to make me happy. So when I'm older, I want to pay the respect back for all the stuff that they've done for me since I was little, because you don't actually understand it until you get older, because then you'll actually realize all the stuff that your parents have done for you. You don't have to repay them, but because of how hard they've worked for me over and over constantly, I want to pay them back and spend time with them before my chances are gone.
You mentioned that they've done all of this for you throughout your life. What's the last thing that they've done for you that you're really grateful for?
I got invited to this convention for dance, so we're trying to work up to it. I'm really grateful that my parents let me do an after school activity or an in-school activity like band and orchestra and choir.
Thanks for sharing all of these thoughts that you have with us. Great to have you on the show and get to know you. Any last thoughts that you'd like to share with the audience?
Be positive, and when times are tough, look up, because sometimes people that you lost will be smiling back at you.
Well, thanks, Anjelika, for joining us, and we'll see everyone again soon.
Welcome back to tonight's table. Today, our guest is Jennifer, and we're going to let her introduce herself some more.
Hi guys, I'm Jen Rivera, CEO of P2P Fitness, also known as Pole to Pole Fitness, pole dancing, aerial fitness, boutique studio located in Woodbridge, New Jersey, and we have 2 more locations, East Harlem and Staten Island.
What inspired you to start your own business?
I just wanted to have a hobby, and my hobby was pole dancing, and I had moved to New Jersey from East Harlem, New York City, and I was inspired eventually to make this my career and my main job. I was working at a hospital, and my boss, who was a woman, was in a leadership role, and watching her lead many people and have so many projects and have a job where she was the person who orchestrated everything, and the people she led would carry out all the responsibilities and actions for whatever project she was conducting. That's how I got inspired to say, hey, you know what? I can do this myself as well and work for myself.
That's kind of dope. Yeah. Someone that you can look up to and see how they did it, and it inspired you to want to be your own leader.
Yep.
Which leads me to my next question. How has pole to pole impacted your self-image?
It has. I've been able to look at myself in the mirror and say, wow, I've come so far. I also have learned that if I put my mind to something, I can definitely do it. I try to stay humble though. I don't really look at the magnitude of what I do and what I have accomplished. I think that always keeps me grounded. I think if I was just like, oh, I did this and I did that, I don't know if I would be so successful. So there's a balance with it, but my self-image has definitely improved significantly because I am my own boss, and it's given me a lot of self-confidence. And self-confidence is something you definitely need when you have your own business and you also have a brand. It's being somebody in a leadership role, you have to be prepared for people not to like you, and you have to be prepared for people to love you too. There's that dynamic. I've learned that you just can't look for validation from people for the decisions you make in your business. You just have to make them. You're the captain of that ship, so you definitely need to do what's good for you. And if you think that being your own boss is going to be easy, it's not.
You touched on how having your own business has helped with your self-confidence and your communication with the general public. What are some of the health benefits of fitness?
I think it's your own antidepressant. People who suffer from depression, it does help you. It helps you way more than medication. But I'm not a doctor, but that's my own bias.
I can agree because I've witnessed the strength that you have to have. And also you have to believe in yourself that you can do these moves. So that's a big part of it.
Mm-hmm.
What is some advice that you would give to someone who is trying pole dancing for the first time?
Allow yourself to be a beginner. We get a lot of people who are lawyers and doctors, high achieving people coming into a pole dancing class or aerial fitness class, like aerial hoops or silks or hammocks. Remember, these people are adults and some are overachievers. Come in with no expectations, be humble, because a lot of us, as we get older, we forget how to be students. Enjoy the process and be patient with yourself.
You had mentioned that there are people from all walks of life in your class. What is it that makes people feel so comfortable being in your class?
The gym can be a place that's very intimidating for women. The gym has changed a lot in the last 10, 15 years. The feedback that I've gotten from people who come to the studios is that they feel a little intimidated. Some people don't know how to use equipment in the gym. They're just doing it because they see others. Another thing women have told me, they just don't feel comfortable doing a squat in front of men. It's a little different when you have a majority of women in one room and you're just not as intimidated. That's why people feel comfortable. There's all shapes and sizes that come to my classes. It's a class where people are very welcoming and also encouraging to each other. because it is definitely a struggle.
It doesn't make it any easier when you have those guys or women who go to the gym looking at you like, hurry up, the machine. So I can understand why people look for alternative ways to get physical workout and try to stay in shape. On a serious note, Miss Jen, boss lady, what are the challenges of being a woman business owner?
I've seen the difference between an owner by a woman and a man. Women are more emotional. That's something that I had to address and keep an eye on for myself as an owner of a business. I've learned to put that emotional part away so that it doesn't get in the way of my leadership skills. One of the things that is hard being a woman business owner is actually having to sit at a table with men and negotiate. And when I sit at the table, they expect that I'm going to undervalue myself and what I bring to the table. They're surprised by me being so aggressive. I demand whatever it is I'm doing with them. My first 5 years of business, I had a chip on my shoulder about everything because I was insecure of being my own boss.
So those are some of the challenges that you faced being a woman business owner. You touched on my next question a little bit earlier when you had mentioned that you started your own business because of your supervisor and how she was able to delegate things. Give us a couple of the perks of being an entrepreneur.
The biggest perk is being creative. I'm a very creative person. I've been a creative person since I was a kid. I've always come up with ways to make money. It's because of how I grew up, where I didn't have a lot of money. So you had to be creative. You can't stay comfortable. There is competition coming. There's always competition, and you have to be creative, and you have to understand whatever industry you're in, it's going to evolve. And when it evolves, you have to evolve with it. You make your own schedule. I would say it's a gift and a curse when it comes to time management, because you have the ability to just stay in your house and not do anything. Another perk is the ability to try new things. You're able to have one business, and then once you build a business, you'll be able to think about a new way to make money and a new business. And I'm always learning. I'm in my 12th year of business. I'm still learning. I think that's the greatest thing.
Take a way to think about it. We learn something new every day. That leads to my next question. What advice would you give to someone who was looking to start their own business?
You shouldn't just go out there and think you know it all. You definitely need to have mentors. I've had mentors throughout this whole journey. Some stay with me forever. A lot of times people don't like to hear that because when they think about entrepreneurship, they think about being on your own and doing this on your own. I was an executive assistant. My boss was the VP. She was a woman. She was tough. I heard how she dealt with people in meetings. I saw what she did. When people came up to her and was like, I need more money, I saw how she handled them. I saw when she gave them money. I saw when she was like, no, your working ethic is not that great. How she was able to maneuver and use word choice. Also, being an entrepreneur, your own boss, you better know every aspect of your business. You don't have to be the best at it. That's another thing. Everybody's like, well, I'm not that good in accounting. Oh, but I'm not good in HR. You're not going to be good. You're the boss. You're going to find people who are going to help you to do that. Know how to use your resources, meaning people, to get what you need.
It is always good to learn underneath someone who has done it before, so that way you can take notes and understand how to use the people that work with you.
With all that being said, Jen, we want to give you an opportunity to share any last thoughts that you might have with our audience.
Entrepreneurship is amazing. I love it. It's what I do. I've been doing it for 12 years, but I feel like I've been doing it since I was at 10 years old in elementary school. I got people together. We got all our makeup, and we would do these things where we would bring nail polish and polish people's nails. It starts very young for some people. So if you have children who are demonstrating those traits, I would encourage them. Entrepreneurship is about creativeness. Entrepreneurship is about understanding the psychology of people and also being able to learn from your mistakes and being able to admit your mistakes. If you can't self-reflect, then you're going to have a huge problem with succeeding. Also, understanding psychology of people and having emotional intelligence. knowing how to deal with different people because you can't deal with everybody the same. Once you learn human patterns, you can actually ace a lot.
Thank you for joining us for this episode of News You Can Use. And for you all that want to check out one of Jen's classes at Pole to Pole Fitness, there's locations in Woodbridge, Staten Island, and Harlem.
We're back at you, beyond the bar. A little difficult to find the type of song we wanted for this segment that'll fit, so we went a little different route. Let them know what we did.
What we decided to do, since we couldn't find a song that was perfect for what we were doing, that had a theme of Let's Grow Wealth, track that we wanted to world premiere, we decided to utilize technology. And specifically, we decided to use generative AI. It helped us to create the track, then match up images to the lines from the track. And we even created a deep dive review, which we'll post separately on our YouTube channel.
Here you go, stack on stack. Press that play button.
Started with a nickel, started with a dime. Turned that in a paper, stacking over time. Climbing up the ladder, built my own design. Now my name's electric neon in the sign. Flip the hustle quickly, turn the spark to flame. Dodging all the pitfalls, playing the science game. They wondering my methods, whispering my name. But staying on my grind is how I build my fame. Flip the hustle quickly, turn the spark to flame. Dodging all the pitfalls, playing the science game. They wondering my methods, whispering my name. But staying on my grind is how I built my fame. Stacks on stacks, make the room go tall. Started from the bottom, now on top of it all. Roll on my wrist, down the steps when I call. My shadow's a mansion, casting over y'all. Blueprint in the pocket, futures in my hand. Didn't beg for favors, didn't need a band. Turned the side hustle into something that'll stand. Now I'm writing checks like I'm the money man. Through the lows, through the fight, I never gave in. Bruises turned to lessons, now I'm out here winning. Can't find a cheat code, I play from the beginning. Pockets heavier, now I'm grinning while I'm spinning. Stacks on stacks, make the room go tall. Started from the bottom, now on top of it all. Gold on my wrist, diamonds dance when I call. My shadow's a mansion, casting over y'all.
Thanks for tuning in. This was another step in the direction we want to go with tonight's table.
Let's keep you going next. Who's gonna join us for Table Talk, and what other news can you use?
We couldn't have done it without our crew and the cast of characters that joined us for this episode.
Tune in next episode where we explore life's hurdles.
We'll discuss reformation and examine rehabilitation.
And from there, we'll head down to South America, and then we'll debut a track with Nigel.
Contact us for all your podcast needs, from production to branding to episode planning. Nights.